everybody, I'm Tom Vasel.
I'm Zee Garcia.
And I'm Chris Yee.
Welcome to a top 10 list. Today, the top 10 games that start with the letter A. But before we get into that, we want to say thank you to some of our Kickstarter backers.
Our favorite backers who start with the letter...
Jesse Cly.
Almost.
Ben and Sam Davey.
Heck yes.
Kev Katnack from the CGBPF.
Yes.
Richard Enlow. Lucas Vitroller.
Hello. Keep on trolling. You do you, Luke.
Daniel McKeon. Alex and Elmer Berghaus.
That's an A name, Alex.
You nailed it.
Jungle Jim from Tiki Land.
Heck yes.
Stop. Jungle Jim from Tiki Land might be my new favorite superhero.
Bryce Tonkin.
That's the villain of the piece.
Pieter Glackenschnark's one-man jazz band. That's what it
I'm
says.
just being punked at
I
this
love
point.
German. You just take all the words and mix them together. I assume.
Lamp.
Lay up?
No, lamp. Just says the
Lamp.
word. Lamp.
No, maybe that's an I. Imp.
It could be either.
It could be either, actually.
Michelle and Michan the cat and Andrew Belleville.
I love that. Okay, Jungle Jim in the City of Doom. What was it? I love him.
All
The
right.
City of Doom.
So what are we doing here? We're going through our top 10 games that start with the letter A. And so a couple things I want to make clear at the beginning. One, we're going to go through the whole alphabet, plus numbers. I should have did numbers first, but I forgot. So we'll do numbers at the end. So we're going to go through the alphabet, but we're not going to do it every time. There's a
No.
top 10 list.
No.
The 26 subsequent weeks will not all be
That is correct.
letters. Okay.
This will take well over a year to get through. Two, I know a lot of people are like, why? But I think it's interesting because we talk about games we might not talk about otherwise. Maybe not with some letters. Like T, we talk about those games all the time.
The T letters, we call them.
Actually, A is a pretty solid letter for me as it is. But what happens when we get to X?
I put it on T games. I do what I can, for the kids.
Yeah.
Also for the letter A, the word doesn't count.
What about an? Like an age contrived. That's that age. Never mind.
Did you say and then they held hands is the only one I can think of that starts with
That's an
and.
ellipsis, technically. So
That's true. That's on the
Punctuation.
symbols.
list.
Yeah.
It's an express list. It's a truncated list. No, A is a good letter, and I got some bangers on my list.
Oh man.
By very nature, we will likely have crossover, I would assume.
I know that I have at least, I have to assume at least 2 crossover with Z, and 2 with Tom, 3 with Tom would be my prediction.
Wow. Okay.
All right. Well, without further ado, let's get going. Hey.
Someone in the chat said, is ARCS eligible for the list? And it would be, but it's too new for the list. I haven't solidified my thoughts on it.
I didn't answer that question because I think you're the only one who has played it of us 3.
Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and get that out of the way. But
Arcs, number 10.
my number 10 is one that is one of those, it's been known as like one of those gateway games, like those classic gateway games for a long time. This one's Alhambra. This is a lot of fun. Z and I, Z, Camille and I just recently played Alhambra Red Palace.
Yeah, yes, that's it.
Which is just kind of another version.
But you didn't put that version on.
No, he didn't. He
No.
thinks it's garbage.
That is correct. No, I think that's a neat version. It's really kind of a sidestep.
It is very, it's searching for a reason to exist. It's almost the same thing.
I like the little extra module stuff that it put on there, but if I'm going to recommend a game, I'm going to go with just the classic.
Yeah.
I like this one a lot. The little exchanging of money, the little joyful moments of like paying for something with exact change, building a really neat wall that you're kind of like, ooh, I'm getting a lot of points from this, but it's closing me in, and that nice kind of give and take tension. I think Alhambra's a classic game. I really like it.
That's a good one.
I accept this choice.
Oh, this is how it's going to be. Okay.
Yes. 1 point for Gryffindor.
I'm Gryffindor.
For Marvel.
What am I?
You're Hufflepuff, you know this.
That's true, especially when I jog.
To
Team Huff and
He's
Puff.
kidding. He doesn't jog. All right, what's your number 10?
My number 10 is the newest. It's the newest game on the list, but it is a re-implementation of a previous game called Ancient Terrible Things Reawakened. Is the new one. It just came out, I don't know, a couple months ago. I reviewed it here on the channel. You can check that out. And it is a dice-driven game, Yahtzee style, where you're rolling, making combinations of stuff, trying to capture and your little tokens and avoid occult things coming for your soul or what have you as you travel down a little haunted river. It's the same. It's a very similar game to another one called Conja from the same company. Pleasant. What is it? Pleasant Company Games.
Present company excluded.
Present Company Excluded. That's a pretty good name.
That'd be a solid name for a publisher.
Yeah, I like that.
That would be a good name.
Present Company Excluded. Yeah.
PCE. Yeah, that's got a nice.
PCD Games. Yeah.
Quick, go.
Oh, it's already copyrighted. Anyway, yeah, I really like this one. I like this company's vibrant artwork, their sort of silly, spooky vibe, where the whole thing is like a scary setting, but because of the art and because of the general sort of like, ooh, Cthulhu, it's tonally very light. So yeah, I really like this one. This is a fun one. And for me, it replaced Conja, because that one was only for 2 people. This can go to more, but it just feels a little bit better. I like this one more. So my number 10, Ancient Terrible Things.
Conja also did not start with an A, so
It wouldn't have made this list.
in the trash it goes.
It might still be in my K list. I don't know.
Ooh.
I just
preview
realized
for
that my
Sakama.
written list here is different than what I put in.
Oh, sweet.
No, because one of these games I realized actually started with an E rather than an A because they changed the name of it. So I took that off and added in another game. I just assume I added the game in at 10. So let's pretend I know. If I know what 10 is, then I know the rest. Let's see. Just show me 10. I'm deducing it. Is that correct?
Wait, yeah.
Awkward guess. Good. Okay, good. All right, so the rest of the list here is just one number down. Okay, good. Awkward guess.
To make it more awkward.
That
Awkward
was
guess.
awkward. That was very awkward. You
Yeah, I
nailed
got.
that.
I'm getting in the theme here, man. I remember distinctly when this game showed up, and I looked at that box and I just stuck it on the shelf. I was like, oh no.
That is quite the cover.
It really is. And you know what? They've leaned into it
Yeah.
because they wanted feedback. And I was like, look at the cover. But then I played it. I looked at it. I was like, oh, deduction game sounds interesting. The rules were translated. I think I had you read them for me, maybe, the Spanish rules.
I don't remember that. But if you say I did, I don't know.
And then I played it and I was like, wow, this is really fun. The deduction in this took like a clue level of deduction, just really stepped it up. You need to know who killed him, what weapon they use. Again, it's like cool, but you're trying to follow a path they took through the mansion. And I really enjoyed this game. It is a lot of fun. Very cool game, just not great art. But again, even though I don't like the art, it's their art.
It's very stylized, and I kind of like what they're going for. I haven't tried it, but I'm curious.
Oh, you haven't played this?
I haven't played it either.
Really? Mm-hmm. Jason's probably setting it up right now if he was listening to this.
He's not. He doesn't watch our videos.
No.
He does not watch your
All
videos.
the things that you've said about him.
No.
Number 10, awkward guests.
All right, my number 9 is one that I've championed a lot, but it recently actually just fell off of my top 100, and it's just that so many good games have come out.
Oh my goodness.
This one is Aeon's End, or Eon's End. Either way you
If you
pronounce
say
it.
Eon's End, then it's got to go to the
You
other
gotta
letter.
say Aeons.
Eon's End.
So this one's a boss battler deck building game that I really enjoy. It uses piles of cards out there, kind of like Dominion, where you have a fixed market and you can purchase multiple copies of the same thing. And then you're trying to fight against a boss who has a lot of just very simple way that he runs. I wish the game were set up a little bit simpler, but I still find this one to be a better game than the Astro Knights that came out, which is kind of it's like a simpler setup version of this game.
Oh, I didn't realize those two are related.
They are, yeah, exactly. So this one I still find to be more fun, even though setting it up is a little bit more of a bear. It's a little bit more of a challenge, but I just really enjoy the loop of casting spells in this one, building up your character, building up that deck of cards, and it's just really neat. Not a setting for everyone, but it's, I don't know. I like that each monster that you fight also feels kind of nice and unique. One will have kind of this big flare deck on the side, and then the other ones will put out lots of extra little annoying little ankle biter kind of minions. So you're having to divvy up your attacks into a lot of places.
This is better than Astronite, you're saying?
I think so, but Astronite has its own charm for being just like you can get at the table a lot quicker instead of being like, okay, let's find 3 level 1 boss event deck cards that are specific to the boss and 4 generic ones. Then we have to do that for levels 2 and 3.
Right.
Like Astronauts is just, it's punchier and quicker to get to the table. But I like the combos in this one better.
All right, my number 9 is one of the Azul games. I'm going with my favorite one here. This is Stained Glass of Sintra.
It's one of the few points, very few, like 1 or 2 in life that me and Z agree on.
That you like this one more than the classic?
I like it more than all the other
All the
Azuls.
other ones, yeah.
This is
There's
my-
now up to like 12. I think they have like 12 Azuls. They have the original, Stained Glass of Sintra. The gardens are alive with the sound of music. Chocolatiers delight. Rum.
Mini. Another
Mini Azul, that's right.
Queen
Then
Garden
they have
Mini.
5211 Azul.
I think it's the other way around. I think it's Azul 5211, but
I
whatever.
don't know, yeah. Azul 911.
You have to wear really short shorts when you're playing it.
Anyway, this one is my favorite, yeah, and it is that really neat drafting of tiles, the nice turn angst of having to wait out everybody else and hope they don't take that thing you're hoping for. But then on top of that, that's all Azul, and the sort of emotions that come with that. It's that moving the little architect fella. You know, if you want to place your tiles way over here on the right, you have to jump him over to that location. And you can build there, and you cannot build behind him. So you need to sometimes just skip a turn and like, okay, I'm going to reset him to the beginning again. You can use that tactically, though. Sometimes you really want to. And sometimes you're just kind of stuck and have to give something up. I really like that.
This is also my favorite one. It's my number
Really?
11. It just is edged off the list, unfortunately. Okay. I felt very bad about that. So I'm glad that you brought it up. Some people say this one actually has less teeth than the original.
Like,
Why?
less mean?
Yeah.
No
and
way.
I-
I once scored like -20 in this game.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it has less teeth. That might be true, but I don't play Azul because it's so mean. That's not what I go for. You know what I mean? I don't
Sure.
really... I guess that wasn't what captivated me about Azul. It wasn't like, ooh, this game is devilishly fun. No. So maybe they're right, and that's partly why I like it, I think.
Azul
be.
Resurrection. I like that.
Oh, boy.
All right, my number 9 is a modern classic. Used correctly, unlike some in the Dice Tower who call anything a modern classic.
True, and they say things are renaissances when
Yes.
they're not.
Renaissances.
Renaissances.
Ooh.
But this came out, I don't know, 20 years or so ago, and therefore this is a modern classic, although they did reprint it multiple times. This is Airlines Europe.
Oh, that's one of the
Airlines.
Mile and
What
Moon
happened to
games.
your list, Tom?
Okay, what's my number 9, really? Show me my real number 9. Arborea.
A
You know
modern
what?
classic.
I don't want to spoil what my number 8 is then, but Arborea.
You're embarrassing yourself.
Now, Arborea
Took a
is
different
I
path.
was like, I'm pretty sure this is a new game.
this is the newest game on my list. Actually, I do not have any games from 24 so far that start with A that made the list. That I do remember. So anyhow, this is a modern classic. It's been out less than a year.
I have not played this, but it seems like you guys really enjoyed it.
I like
a
it
lot.
because I like the push your luck is a fun thing. It's not a push your luck in the aspect of, oh, I can bust. But it's more like the longer I can stay on that.
Bide your time is more. what
Yeah,
it
it's
is,
more
right?
biding your time. It's actually a little similar to Zolkin, sort of.
Yeah.
But this is much faster. I mean, you can, these things will move pretty quickly, but you'll say, I could get some stuff now or stay on and then get all the stuff on that last path. And it's a tough call to make. And I like games that do that. And then it has a really weird resource mechanism because whenever you produce resource in your turn, they're produced for everybody. So there's this resource board down there, so I could say, I would like to spend these resources. If I don't, I'm giving them to Chris. But if I leave them for Chris, I still score points for him.
Okay.
And it's a neat give and take because I'll be like, "Oh, nice job, Chris. You gave me some resources."
Okay. Interesting.
That's also bright and colorful. You know what? It's funny because you have this area in front of you, like this little player board where you're putting card stuff. That's my least favorite part of the game. That part's okay.
The best part is the shared space in the middle.
Yeah, you know, sometimes you're like, ooh, look at this thing I'm building. In this game, the thing I'm building, I'm like, that's okay. Meanwhile, the game itself is fun.
Yeah. It has a shoots and ladders look to it a little bit.
It does.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's kind of fun, and that is fun. That idea of like, woo, I got all this stuff on the way down. That's neat.
Yeah, I don't disagree there. That's a funny way to put it, but it's not inaccurate.
Yeah, that's fun. Absolutely. Yeah, waiting for something and eventually being like cha-ching and cashing out.
Yeah.
That's a fun moment in any game.
So that's my number 9, an ultra modern classic, Arborea.
My number 8 is the most action-packed, I think, out of all the games on this list here.
Action pack starts with A.
That's true. I did that on purpose. This one is basically an arena shooter video game.
Arena starts with A.
Oh boy.
This is great. And
No, prepositions don't count.
so this is basically the arena
Conjunctions.
shooter video game, the board game. This is Adrenaline from CGE. I love this one so much. This is one I love teaching to people because people don't believe that a game from CGE that's kind of thoughtful and about resource management and stuff can actually be action-packed feeling.
Yeah.
And it really is. You run around the board and you're like, I now have this gun that can shoot through walls. I now have this gun that can fire across all of the rooms. I don't have to play with line of sight. Like so many of the weapons in this game feel broken. I have the flamethrower. I can just set this entire large room with everyone else on fire. And yet they all kind of work together nicely. The more devastating weapons cost more resources, so you're spending more turns running around, not shooting things, just like grabbing the cubes off the board. So it has a nice little give and take to it. It's so fun. Great little majority system. And no one ever feels too picked on in this game, because once you're killed, you're worth fewer points.
Like in real life.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, I think this is one of the first games to do that. I like that aspect because it's tricky in these games to say. I mean, we've had this problem since D&D version 1. We're all fighting the monsters. He's like, I did the killing blow. And we're like, well, okay, but I did most of the damage.
Right.
Yeah.
This game rewards you for taking people out, but you want to hit different people in the game, and I like that.
Just that feeling of like, oh, if you a game with 3 people, and you draw first blood on Chris, I'm gonna keep going for Chris because he's weaker. So games have managed now, and this is one of them again to balance that out. It's like, yes, he's weaker, but he's worth less. Go for the other person instead.
It's
I like
worthless,
that.
is what he said.
I enjoy that feeling, and there's a few games that do it, but yeah, it's a neat balancing act.
I like this one fine. It's, I don't know, it feels more Euro gamey than it feels shoot 'em up. I think probably by design.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, but it's mechanically so solid, but it has raucous moments where you're like, woohoo, yeah, we took down Z, and everyone gets to divvy out the points. I like it.
It's been a long time since I played it.
Yeah, it's my number 8.
My number 8 is an area control game with chunky miniatures called Ankh, Gods of Egypt. And this one, talking about a game that feels like a Euro game, this is one that manages to straddle that line for me, where it feels thematic and it feels sort of epic. The story it's telling takes place over hundreds of years, right? This idea of like these deities carving up the land, building monuments to you, building obelisks, what have you. But the whole thing also has a pretty clean mechanical basis underneath, where on your turn you're like, move a thing forward, take a little action. What is that action? Move, claim something. You know, eventually in the game, again, you get one You get a big area that you carve up into smaller areas for area control. I like what's happening in this one. I like the sauce. It does have the, I guess you can say it's infamous, the infamous merge mechanism in it. You're gonna have to make up your own mind on that one, but it's an interesting package, and I enjoy it, especially at 2 players. But I enjoy the way it manages to feel like many things coming together, and none of them overwhelms the others, and none of them are that difficult to comprehend. So,
Do you feel like this one has faded off the scene pretty quickly, though?
oh yeah, I do. I feel it still feels like it's basically Blood Rage and then all the other ones.
Yeah.
Rising Sun gets a little more love, but
This one did not.
Right. Right.
Maybe it's being played behind the scenes and in kitchen tables everywhere all the time. I'm just not. I don't see it. You're right. I'm not seeing it anywhere.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my number 8.
My number 8. So, it's a modern classic. It's
What is
Airlines Europe.
So it was on your list.
Yeah, it was on my list. I just
Oh man, what a double bluff.
Switched to 9A. Okay, so Airlines Europe is the game Alan Moon used to be known for before Ticket to Ride. Actually, it was called Union Pacific back then, until Union Pacific said, nah, can't use our name in a game.
Yeah, they were the OG handsome group.
Airlines Europe,
There's some topical humor for you.
when you really, you're hip. You can have your old late night show.
This is going to be out of date in 2 weeks.
It doesn't look particularly engrossing there, but what makes Airlines Europe interesting is it takes the idea, a concept which is in many games, the whole, I would like to own part of something, the share system, I like to own part of that, and I would like to make it bigger, but the same resources used for both. I'm either making something bigger, or
Right.
in this case, it's not quite the same, but do I want to make something bigger, or do I want to own more of it? Which one do I want to do? And you want to do both. What makes Airlines Europe great is it does it in a much more complex way than most of these games are. They're mostly usually dirt simple, like Botswana.
Mm-hmm.
And
Cube Rail games or something like that, yeah.
it scales well. It really does. I'll play Airlines Europe easily with 5. And I will do that with almost no Euro game on the market.
That's true.
It's not a Euro game, though. It's more of an economic game. But it's a light one. So, like, if you're like, I don't want to play an 18XX or anything, this still has the same basic principles as the 18XX games do, but, and then some 18XX people are going to come after me now for that one.
You're in trouble.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, their hats have flown off their heads with steam, but angry steam, not like good steam.
So, that didn't work as well as I thought it would.
What is good steam?
They're the kind that moves locomotives, I assume. I'm
Good
not a-
steam is
Save,
when...
good save. They're like, they stopped in their tracks and they're like, fine, I'll delete the email. Good steam saves the day. I have not played Airlines Europe. I have played the other one from Alan Moon and not Union Pacific. He had the big blue box.
Are you talking about the tiny little pieces?
No, that was a ship-themed one, which I have played that too,
Are you
yes.
talking about Elfin Roads?
No.
Alan
Doesn't
has
he have
a lot of
another,
games.
Alan Moon has another
New England?
train game, didn't he?
It's called Alan Moon's other train game.
You know what? Never mind.
That's
it
on
had
my-
track. It had track that was like was differentiated from itself by like this one's dashed. And
Yes,
this one's
that's
like,
Union Pacific.
That is Union Pacific.
Yeah.
I've played Union Pacific.
Okay.
Oh, I never have. I like Airlines Europe a lot, so I've wanted to kind of go back and see, like, what's the old version
Okay.
like?
I'm curious if anyone here put Alfred Butt's other game on their list at top 10 for A.
No. Did not.
Have you never heard of this game?
No.
So he invented Scrabble.
And he made another game.
And it's called Alfred Butt's other game or something like that.
Scrabble was so big that it was like, yeah.
That's just resigned to be like, fine, I'll be known for one thing in life.
Yeah, exactly.
I think inventing Scrabble's not a bad thing to like stake your claim to.
Nope, not at all.
Anyway, my number 8, great game, Airlines Europe.
My number 7 is newer to the list. It might actually be the newest one on here. This was a card, kind of a card driven engine building game that came out just a year and a half ago or so. It's called Ancient Knowledge. It came out from Yellow. This has such a satisfying way of building up an engine of cards. It's not too dissimilar to games like Race for the Galaxy, or where you're kind of building these cards up in front of you, but it has the great feature where things will just age out. So on that top part of your board, at the end of every round, everything scooches over to the left, and eventually things will just kind of fall off. Buildings, the things that you've built up become too ancient and no longer useful, but they become part of your history. So they're useful to have in a different way. So I like that for one of these card games, that part still feels thematic, but it is also done in a very clean way. The combos that you can make are just awesome, and then you have those cards on the bottom, the artifacts. That artifact starts with A.
I'll do my own bit, thank you.
Okay. Those artifacts, though, won't age out, so they feel really great to have.
I'm actually thinking about the game.
You are?
I am.
You're liking it. You're remembering things.
I just played this recently.
You did?
Oh, wow,
Where
nice.
was I?
I was in Texas.
Okay,
What?
I asked where was I.
Homestead.
I'll do my own bit, thank you.
But yeah, no, this game is fantastic. So fun, and I really like that. The biggest complaint I had about it, I think, was that 4 players was long. So they introduced the 2-player or the 4-player simultaneous play rule.
I forgot that rule existed.
Oh, you played the 4-player game in Texas.
I did.
You
It wasn't that bad. We kept things moving pretty quickly.
Still.
I'll tell you what, I have come. I'm backing away a little bit about my annoyance at the take that cards.
Sure.
I don't think they're that bad. There's one I don't like. I think it's one where you take a card from someone's hand. If someone's saving a card, that can be like
sucks.
devastating. That
Yeah.
sucks.
Sure.
And the other thing is, where's it? Wasn't there an expansion promise for this one? Like more cards?
Yes, there is an expansion, I believe. I don't know. At some point.
I don't know. I haven't heard that.
I
You
thought
sure?
they said more cards were coming for this.
You just spoiled some insider news. Bro.
And I would like there to be more cards because you do go through the deck multiple times, and I would like you to never go through the deck more than once.
Right.
That would, but it's
Me specifically. Yeah. Definitely felt like that. Didn't
Stop it.
And I would like you to not go through the deck anymore. Thank you. Keep your hand off my desk.
it also needs more technology cards because they run out in a
Yes.
4-player game.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's something that is. Like, once again, I don't know if we're saying anything not public yet.
I don't know. It's been out for a while.
I don't
There's
have
there's
any
a there's a
answers.
legacy version of this coming, folks. I don't know. We're not under any NDA on this. I don't think.
That would be cool. A legacy version of this would
I
be
just
good.
made that up, folks. It's not true.
Yo.
Probably.
Remy, call Tom and yell at him. That's my number 7, Ancient Knowledge, Legacy.
I like that. My number 7 is about 10 years old. And I know this because the edition I have is the 10-year-old anniversary edition of Ascension. Ascension
Wow.
is a deck building game. The deck building game.
This
The
was not on your
original deck
list when it
building
came
game.
out, was it?
The only deck building...
When this came out 10 years ago, this would not have made your list, I think.
Well, because back then it was illustrated on a kid's notebook. I still don't understand what happened. No, I don't think so. I've mellowed out with age, and now I can appreciate it for its base simplicity. And plus the artwork is a lot better. Okay, that's mainly what it is, really. It's a lot better now. It looks good. I do like the comfort food nature of playing this. This feeling of like, shuffle up the big deck of cards, flop over 6. Let's go. Let's set up.
Is there any expansion you like in particular?
I don't have any.
You just played base?
Yeah.
Really? Because it's 10th anniversary of the base. Have they done anything besides make it not look bad?
No. It's exactly the same game.
That's so cool, man.
I like all the
nothing
different
different.
expansions, although I've made the mistake sometimes on the app. I'll be like, play with everything.
Oof.
What's going on?
What is this? Yeah. You can do that with Dominion too, to be fair, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
You can add all sorts of stuff. No, and I'm not, opposed to expansions. I just don't have any. And again, I think it makes this really approachable. I can just pull it off the shelf and be playing in 5 minutes. I enjoy that. So, yeah, Ascension is It's one of my. I'm not a big deck building fan. I think it's an okay genre, but there's a lot of them. It's sort of, it gets flogged a lot. But I like this one because, again, to me, it feels very comfortable to come back to it. So, my number 7.
My number 7, there's a good chance I'll play it this coming week at Dice Tower East, just because this is one of those games I bring out to people, and I know that they probably haven't played it before. Mostly because everyone hated the art of this game. But I think it's a very good game, and that's Automania.
Oh.
Nailed it.
I got it right for once. Yes, this is my number 7. Automania, I mean, you look at that cover, I don't know, it looks like a bad app. A bad video game from the 80s.
I guess I've always found it an appealing cover because I feel like it's going to be a fun game that doesn't take itself too seriously, which Aporta Games I think does pretty well.
Yeah, but Aporta Games does a good job with their stuff at making the games, like that board looks pretty, I mean, once you learn a game, you're like, take a worker, get this, you run a car. You're like, that's it. But there's a lot more strategy in the game other
Sure,
than that.
yes.
Knowing what market to sell it, knowing when to pass, and when you pass, what benefit to take next. How many cars do you want to sell on your turn? I like this a lot. I do think it's funny, we get the white box in the corner and the orange box in the back. I think they just changed the color.
I don't think there's anything different between the two
Yeah, there's
editions.
the font and the color. That's it.
Wow. I have
The
the
yellow
orange.
one's the original, then the white was
I have
later.
the yellow box, the original. Anyhow, for you newfangled folk with this white box garbage.
Yeah. Noobs.
But I think this game plays very smoothly. It introduced to me, and I know it might not be the first one, the idea of I can go to the same spot as you, but I have to have more workers.
Yeah, the scooch mechanism, they call it.
What?
Scooch.
The scooch?
That's what Chris said about those cards falling off. They scooch over. And workers replacing other workers, that's also called the scooch
Well, you're not
mechanism.
replacing them. You just have to put more there than the other
No, they're
person.
aging out and dying. They're becoming ancient history. That's the scooch.
No, I like that. I feel like I've seen that before, this idea of sort of escalating costs for worker placement.
Yeah, probably. But
Don't
this
you
game,
bounce them back, though, in this game? I think you do, don't you? Give them back to the person?
Coal Baron does it, but they don't go back to the person. They just get scooched to the side.
okay, I know the difference between orange and yellow. I thought that box was orange, and he said yellow, then I was confused.
I don't know. I always
Are you
called it yellow.
colorblind?
No, but I'm
What
telling you,
color is your shirt?
that'd be funny if I it's green, of course.
I know, that would be wild.
I don't know, orange. I don't know.
Gradient.
That's
Orange
true.
and
It's a
yellow, that
gradient.
gradient there, I can never tell.
Yeah,
all right, we
come
always
on.
have this
They're getting hung up on this? Let's talk about scooching again.
Automania, my number 7. Fun game, check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're kind of orangish too.
No, school buses are definitely, yeah. What color is a taxi cab?
Those are yellow.
It's the same paint as a bus.
It looks different when it's longer.
Okay, and with that,
I like that.
you can't argue with science. My number
The
6.
dress is blue and white, okay?
My number 6 is the biggest game on this list. It's kind of it's a campaign that you can go through, but it's also one that's great for families. This is Adventure Tactics. I adore this game. I enjoy boss battlers. Anne's End was also a boss battle. This one does it different, where you actually are moving on the grid and you have to kind of do the tactical, the movement and stuff and the board positioning, but also it's kind of a deck building game, but over the course of the campaign. As you
Yeah, the
level
deck
up.
building's in between turns more than anything else.
Yeah, but as you level up, you get new cards that you kind of throw in, and the leveling up system is absolutely what makes this game. I think that's the core loop of what you do in a session is fun, but then it's just augmented by the fact that you're done with a session, level up. How do you want to level up? That's up to you. Do you want to continue down the same job path, like Final Fantasy Tactics job path, or do you want to?
Well, you're speaking Tom's language here.
Absolutely.
Well, I mean, this game is very much Final Fantasy
This game is
Tactics.
going to be on your list. Uh-huh. You have the poker face of a blind mole.
It's yellow.
So we'll talk about this
He turned
more.
yellow with poker face. That doesn't work.
That would be.
I don't get
That'd be
it.
a weird tell.
Green is envy, red is embarrassment, right? Blue is sad, cold.
Okay.
Yellow is
that's not a
poker.
thing.
So every
Poker face.
time I have a good hand of cards, I'm like, let me hide it.
That'd be bad for poker, yeah.
Yeah.
Or any bluffing game.
Yeah, that's called a tell.
I've never played this
Who's making
game.
these colors anyway? My face definitely turns red when I'm embarrassed. When someone's sick, I've never been like, you're green. That's never happened.
It's a very subtle, like you feel ill and you
You might be gray.
Yeah, I suppose you have the flush. You're flushed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You look a little green, kind of like your veins will look blue. I think
Maybe
that might
that's
be
what
what
it
it
is.
is.
Maybe, yeah.
Anyway,
how far I-
Adventure Tactics. I haven't played. And it always looks like such a kiddie game to me, but it's not. You guys both enjoy it. It's not.
Yeah, I mean, families can play it, but it's definitely more than that.
It just screams a game for children.
It's very child friendly. It's fun. Like I played it with my daughter when she was
Yeah.
7, maybe.
Months?
Yes, because by the
Oh,
time
yeah,
she
he
was
was
7
gamer.
years.
They were playing Agricola back then.
But I mean, so is the kids can play it and do fine. But it definitely needs. I think it definitely needs like a gamer at the table though to kind of decipher how the bosses work. And it does help to have like video game shorthand to be like, oh, this is the type of boss that digs underground and then pops up somewhere else.
Sure.
Oh, this is the type of boss that turns
Armors
into,
up and then opens. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah. So, but number 6, I anticipate we'll talk about it later. Adventure Tactics.
Are we? Gonna talk about it later?
Maybe we'll talk about it now.
You're
Go.
turning yellow. Okay, here we go. My number 6 is a crossover with Chris.
Yep.
This is Alhambra. I really like this game. I've enjoyed this game for a long, long time. It's sort of one of my go-to, hey, let me show you a game let me show you something a little different from what you might have played in the past, and I'm in this situation talking to someone who is not ingrained in board gaming. It's the core concepts at play here are very familiar to just about anybody. It's managing money. You grab money, you spend it, you build things. You build a wall to protect yourself from invaders. You have more and better and shinier stuff than the other people. I like that. I like that all the things here, nothing's weird, nothing is nonsensical, and it's just very approachable. Yes, it can be a little mean. You can have something taken, or you can, somebody can watch what you're doing and snipe a majority from you, but I find those things are pretty okay with the mass sort of, gamers at large, actually. I think it's gamers that are a little more averse to, take that type stuff.
A little precious about it.
Yeah, right. That's
put
a good
this-
way to put it, yeah.
You put this on your you did the pick 6 games for people who have played Monopoly.
Yeah.
And I agree. I think that manage money, buy little things, and build something up feels cool.
Yeah.
I need to play this one again. I like it.
You do. Yeah, I have one I'm gonna show you. What is it?
I don't know what you were talking about. You have one what? A
Yeah, I have
game?
a game, this game, a
I
version
own
of
it.
this game I'm gonna show you.
Do I own Alhambra?
Of course you do.
It's-
You own 2,000 games out there.
We had the big box, but we got rid of that. I don't
Did
remember.
we get rid of the big box?
No, I think it's in the library.
Is it still in the library? I
That
thought
might have
so.
been the one I kept.
Yeah.
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
I'll have to check.
You don't even know.
I'm pretty sure it's back here. I do walk through the library
You
sometimes.
do with. I've seen it.
Yeah.
Longing, sleepwalking. All right, my number
I don't
6.
sleep here.
My number 6
Wait,
is
we don't
another
have to-
modern classic.
We don't have to sleep at the office?
No, that's just you. That's a choice you made.
Another modern classic. This one from the good Dr. Rainer Knizia.
Here we go.
That is Amun Ray.
Ray, yes.
And this one, and now of course we're showing the brand new version, which is definitely from Alley Cat Games.
Yeah, no, I was pretty sure.
I love this game. Actually, isn't ours painted? Didn't Wendy paint the god?
She painted the statues.
Yeah, it's cool.
Oh,
Yeah,
those are great.
Amun Ray is such a fantastic, auction game. And this is coming from someone I'm not a huge fan of auctions because I usually find them to be hazy. Like people are never quite sure what to bid in an auction.
Okay.
And you also know the game really well for auction games to kind of sing. In Amun-Re, you pick the amounts for things are pre-printed on the board, and you're only auctioning a few things, and the spots get some of them get way more valuable than others, and I really enjoy that a lot, especially since you kind of cleared the board halfway through, but the spots retain their value, and it's smooth, it's fun. There's a little bit of a fun take that aspect, like instead of adding money to the offering, I shall be stealing, but you get punished for doing that, right? And someone else gets rewarded for giving money. It's
Just
it's a great system.
the fun mechanism of if I bid somewhere and then you outbid me there, I have to leave. I have to move. I can't just rebid there.
They call it the scooch.
The scooch. It's called the scooch bid mechanism.
We are not. Scooch is crazy, man.
Scooch. It's called the scooch and hooch.
Now, hooch is also crazy, but yes.
Anyway, you move. You have to bid somewhere else, and I really like that.
Well, I love that it makes you not just start low. Man, your starting bid on something might be like 15.
Yeah, you want to make sure you win it, or you might not be able to come back. Is the point? I really like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I always go. You're gonna try to go for the max you're about to bid. It's like eBay.
Right. They should retheme this with eBay. Actually, that'd be interesting.
With snipers, sniping software.
Got it.
Okay, yeah.
Makes a lot more sense the second time.
My number 6, Amun-Re.
My number 5 is the oldest game on my list here. This is, I think, a classic, but a little bit more of a forgotten one. This is Aladdin's Dragons.
That's right. This is like becoming one of your champion games.
It really is.
This is one you might play next week.
Yeah, I like pulling this out at conventions because it is sort of worker placement, sort of auction, where you have these discs that are face down. You'll place them out into a central board into these different areas. The bottom part of the board is where you can collect the cool treasures that look like chiclets. And then the middle part of the board is where you can take neat actions. The top part is where you spend those aforementioned treasures to try to get the actual victory point items for the game. And it's fun because you put your tokens out face down and you can kind of do the little bluff. If you played Fractured Sky, it's where that game, I think, got that mechanism from, where there are bluffs, there are low numbers, you might put out high numbers, and people are trying to read what your intentions are in different areas. Once everyone's placed them all out, you flip it all over, you see who has the majority and sometimes the second highest amount of power committed to each area. I really like that. It makes for a fun, very interactive experience, a lot of yelling at the other players at the table. And it's just, there's something about that. I think this game came out in 2000, 99 or 2000, and there's just some of that punch and uproariousness that this game has that a lot of more serious games don't.
They're remaking this with a key
One of
thing.
the key games.
They did already. Yeah.
Oh, it's already done?
Yeah, I reviewed it like a year and a half ago. Keatom's Dragons. And it was fine.
I hate that name so much.
Yeah,
Is that really what it's called?
It was. As a reprint, as a reworking, it was kind of a sidestep. It wasn't much prettier. It lacks the fun theme here. But it's all right. But I recommended that we actually just keep Aladdin's Dragons in the library because that's the one I would more likely pull out anyway.
I'm going to sneak a chiclet into that game and see if anyone notices. I don't think you realize that chiclets can have a shelf life of 37 years and 6 months.
The yellow ones.
You're very learned about chiclets.
I'm a chiclet master.
Chiclet master.
That was my minor in college.
Chiclets?
Chiclets.
Oh,
That-
wow. I minored in Tic Tacs. I threw my life away.
Oh no. There was a period there in the late 90s, early 2000s when Rio Grande was sticking chiclet-looking bits in a lot of their games. Do you realize that?
Oh, candy.
Amun-Re was theirs also around this time, and this. And they had those kind of chiclety looking pyramids.
They had the candy camels from Through the Desert.
Candy camels
gosh,
for Through
yeah.
the
Jay
Desert.
Tomlinson had a sweet tooth back then.
He did. I don't know what it is, but those pieces really do hold up. They look great. I wish bits like that made a resurgence.
Yeah, I misread the chat. Hannah asked, "Do chiclets still exist?" I thought from here it said, "Do chickens still exist?" And I was like, "Oh, I missed some
Think of
really bad
both.
news article."
I think yes to both.
I haven't had a wait. 2 chiclets? I guess they do.
The chiclet shape certainly exists.
Oh, I know that.
Yeah.
Almost every bit of one piece of gum, it's always that shape.
Mostly with a stick.
I'm definitely putting a chiclet in the game. I want to see if people notice.
You need to paint it though, that tan color.
That's worse.
I'm just saying, if you're gonna go, oh wow, go all out. That's just a normal chiclet. That's gross.
It's a new show. It's a cake.
Cake or game? I like that.
Is it chiclet? you gotta look at all the pieces in a board game and see which one is actually a piece of candy.
You have 10 seconds to find the chiclet. Go.
You're actually making me think that we could do this as a little game here
Might be
sometime.
fun.
Like open a box, but that's a piece of like which one is candy.
I like that.
Oh my gosh.
You can't touch anything.
You can't touch.
Can't touch anything until you bite on it.
Yeah, whichever one you pick, you have to swallow.
Not go too far.
I think I would rather swallow one of the pieces from Aladdin's Dragons than a spray-painted chiclet.
Witness me, please.
All right.
Okay, I'm going off the deep end here. Is
Chiclets,
it me?
The witness me.
Yes.
Okay. My number 5 is a modern classic that just got an expansion, actually. A wonderful expansion. This is Aquatica.
What?
I expect it to be on somebody else's list. Maybe 2 lists.
Just scroll through here, Roy. It's also my number 5.
Yeah, baby.
Roll through.
You made
Here we
you
go.
made Roy
Boom.
do extra work here
Bang.
with the
Bam.
pictures. And
Boom.
is it the same picture?
Bang.
No, I picked a
No,
better
yours
picture.
is cool.
It's worse. It has white on the back.
Yeah, you're
Oh, come on, Tom. Anyway, yeah, we can talk about this together. It's a really neat hand management game. It's a really neat sort of combo-rific game. You are claiming lands and using the people and the mantas to do that, but it's really where the game shines and where like sort of the heady part of it is that feeling of on your turn you can just take these sort of secondary actions and link them together to do like wild stuff.
Oh my gosh,
And
yes.
to generate this much money. Okay, well, you can push this land up and you can flip over this manta, and then you can push this land up to push this one, and boom, you've got 8 coins. Go buy a thing. It's neat. It's very cool. And like I said, the expansion, the new one, did that review go up already?
It
Yes.
just went up today.
Yeah, it's very neat.
This would have made my list without the expansion. I
Yeah,
really
yeah.
like Aquatica everything. I like the art. I like the theming. But that card sliding mechanism is straight up unique to this game. I haven't seen another game do it. The whole and the main mechanism of the game, the whole, have a handful of cards. That's in a lot of games, but I love it every time.
Mm-hmm.
Play a card or play the one to get them all back in your hand.
Yes.
I love that mechanism. Concordia, all those games. Aquatica does
It's
a really
really
great
fun.
job of it. And it's also not a long game.
It is not. It is shockingly not a long game when you play just the basic, with like the pre-printed objectives on the top. I can play that thing in like 20 minutes sometimes.
Yeah, the whole thing is really very well done. It's very neat.
So my number 5, Aquatica.
There you go.
My number 4 is one that I anticipate is also going to be a crossover. But this is one that I'm very grateful that was introduced to me just a few years ago by my compadre here at the on the couch, Zee Garcia. This
Yeah.
one is Arkham Horror, the card game.
Oh, man.
This is
You forgot about this one.
This is such a great way to experience the Arkham files. I've really enjoyed. Like it's funny when I look back when I first was getting into gaming seriously. When did I walk into a game store and this guy recommended Eldritch Horror to us, and modern Chris would look at that and be like, nah, but at that time I was just trying to gobble up every new game, and I'm so glad I did because I had so much fun playing Eldritch Horror. And I enjoy Mansion Madness. I enjoy the games in this line, but this is the standout one for me. This is the one that still stands up because it leans into both really good and creative card play, problem solving with the hand of cards you have, making sure to draw up so you have enough, even in between turns and stuff as things are going to be happening back to you. It has a lot of those great choices, and then it also leans into the story side of things so well, so cohesively. The biggest negative is probably setup, I think.
Sure.
But
it's a living card game, so that's the other big negative there, is that if you buy the core box for this, there's not that much content in it. Ultimately, you're playing. There's 3 stories, if you would, that you can play. That's it. You're gonna need at least 1 expansion.
Right, get one of the story expansions, and I think that the story expansions are much better.
Now they publish them as now you can get a box that has like the arc,
yes,
which is like 8 chapters, 8 stories.
How much do those cost?
60 or something like that.
That's a lot of content.
Yeah,
it's a good amount
it's a
that
good
you
way
get
to
from
do
it.
It's like, here, buy that. You're good for a while.
Yeah, you really are.
This one says, have I ever played it? Everyone Z has shown seems to have liked it. No, Z showed me. I did not care for it. But I didn't dislike it. I just was like, interesting.
Yeah.
Meh.
Right. It's a bit of a commitment, too.
I'm also not a huge fan of the Lord of the Rings one either. I don't know what it is. And I also, Earthbound Rangers didn't really attract me. There's something about these card
do you like
story
the Marvel
games.
Champions one?
You don't like cooperative games anymore.
Well, that's not quite true. But
You've cooled on a lot of them, sure. But, yeah, have you
You
played
don't
Marvel
remember if
Champions?
you like that one or not?
no. I like Marvel Champions fine. I just don't love it. I don't know what it is. It just doesn't attract me.
Yeah, it might be a game type thing.
Yeah, maybe. Again, I don't dislike them. I just don't go out of my way to play them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fair.
This is one I went out of my way for, and I bought a few boxes of stuff, and I'm set for a long while, but I'm very happy with it. Yep,
Yeah.
and number 4, Arkham Horror the card game.
All right, my number 4 is, again, I'm tossing it back to Chris. This is another crossover with you. This is Ancient Knowledge. Ancient Knowledge is tremendous. I remember the first time I played here, where I borrowed it and played. It came in as an early copy. And you guys, somebody, Tom and Mike, somebody was like, you might like this. You were being a little gun shy because you didn't want to oversell it, right? And I remember...
This is one of those games when I played, I was like, I think Z's going to really like this. But
Yeah.
don't tell him.
Don't tell him that, right? And I played, and sure enough, I remember even after my first play of this, I'm like, this could become one of my favorite games. I had that feeling of, this is doing all those things I have learned to recognize that I like. Cards with powers, interesting combinations, a neat theme, a one central cool mechanism, generally known as the scooch mechanism, which forces you to you create combos in this game, and the game, in a very elegant way, destroys them. That is tremendously clever.
And it's not annoying. 'Cause you
It
see it
makes
out
sense.
there.
I'm not bothered by it. It makes sense. The passage of time takes, erodes civilizations and buildings and everything. So that's incredibly clean, the way they managed to do that, with one sentence. It's like, I get it. Yeah, and I understand it, and I forgive it, and I welcome it even. And yeah, it's so cool. So Ancient Knowledge is just a wonderful game. I heard that they were coming out with 2 expansions to this. Have you guys heard about this?
Each one has different cards. It's a collectible expansion.
Ancient Knowledge Duel.
Oh, I would buy that in a heartbeat.
Yeah, that's true.
Remy, I would buy that in a heartbeat.
Is he like someone's secret line? Yellow?
I don't
All right,
know.
my
He knows
number.
Remy, clearly.
Let's name drop some more. My number 4 is a crossover with the illustrious Chris Yee also. Adventure Tactics.
Yeah.
Great game.
Everybody knew it.
Yeah, I know. It's no fun. You'll never guess my number 3. Number 3 will shock you. Anyhow, Adventure Tactics, Domains, Tower. The farthest I got in a campaign ever with my kids.
Cool. That's cool.
But yeah, it's Final Fantasy Tactics. That's what it is. I love that concept of building things up, and building a character up with a deck works really smooth. Add some cards, get rid of some cards, and the cards that you get based on the classes, and you just slide them over. It's really, really fun. So definitely a great game.
Okay. Very
And a
nice.
boss battler. yellow or orange.
Yeah, I'm laughing. Yeah, is it yellow, company, or orange? Live chat, you slay me. My number 3 is the one where y'all have beat me to the punch. This is Aquatica. I also love Aquatica.
I guess you beat us. You had it higher.
Sure, yeah. I like
the
that
Chris
version
Yee
of it.
Essentials line.
I'm taking over. Remy, I'm taking over. Scooch. Everything that you guys said. The basic game of Aquatica is great, and you can change up the little objectives that you're playing for. But I really like the first expansion. I haven't tried the second one yet, but I'm very excited to.
Yeah, that's good.
I like that little overlay board. I don't love overlay boards, but what they do with it in the first expansion, it kind of gives you a little bit more of a gamery thing to target for. But with or without that, it doesn't matter.
I got good news for you. In this expansion, you don't need the overlay board. It's just print it right on the board.
That's cool. I'm really excited about that. But yeah, just the fact, what you guys are talking about, the booping the cards, sliding them up to do all sorts of ridiculous combos that from the outset seem like, how am I ever going to get 8 coins?
Right.
How am I ever going to get 7 power to take over these new landscapes and stuff? And then if you can make it happen with just like one little thing. I flip this mana to slide this card up. I'm going to I'm going to forego one thing so that I can get like 5 things from it.
Right.
You're in business. This is
Yeah,
a
it's cool.
great comboing game. Yep, my number 3, Aquatica.
My number 3 is a wonderful cooperative game that I'm featuring the second edition here, really, but both were interesting. This is Atlantis Rising, second edition. Quite a jump from the first edition to the second. I was one of the few people that I think sort of championed the original one.
Yeah, I thought it was
Z-Man.
okay.
Yeah, it came out from Z-Man Games back in the day. And yeah, that was a general consensus. It's okay. I still like that I had it. I enjoyed it. But from that one to this, my goodness, what a jump. The artwork is incredible. The game was reworked to really feature a lot of cooperation. And that's one of the things I really like in this game, is that I have a power. I am a character that has an ability, but I share that ability with whoever I'm sharing a tile with on this island that is sinking. And the original one didn't have that feeling. You kind of were good at something, and you, by the very nature of those things, did that. You're like, I'm good at fighting off the invaders. Then you're stuck doing that the whole game. Stand there and you fight, you know. The new one got around that in a very clever way, and where now my power is spread around. The game has great push your luck in it. You can go for a bigger reward closer to the edge of the island, but that thing might sink before you actually get the ability that it would give you. I just enjoy it. It's a different kind of co-op. It has a little bit of a loosey-goosey feel when it comes to the worker placement part, which is really what it is. But it works for me in this one because you have this sort of open discussion for a minute or so where you go, I really want... Oh, I need iron, guys. Can I go over here? Is everybody good with that? I go over there, and you don't. But if somebody else is like, "Ooh, I need iron. I need it for this." I'm like, "All right, sure. I'll move. You go there. I'll go over here instead." I love that free-flowing cooperation. And then once we're all set, then we can start actually going through the mechanics of the game. Love it. Try it if you haven't. If you enjoy co-op games, I think you're going to be very pleasantly surprised. Number 3.
Still haven't tried this one, actually.
Oh, really? You've never played it?
No, I'm interested for sure.
By the way, yes, you are hearing thunder in the background. Siri said today would be a clear day, and Alexa disagreed.
We'll see who won that argument. The one that starts with A.
All right, my number 3 is not a modern classic. It could be, if its brother game didn't do so well, I'm going to nominate for the Spiel des Jahres. And you can, if you want this game, you can buy it for $5 almost anywhere at Spiel Essen. But I love it, and that is Adventureland. Adventureland, which got beat out by its brother Karuba. They came out at the same time, and everyone played Karuba and blah, blah, blah. Adventureland is great. Ignore that really, really, really generic cover.
And title.
Yes, it sounds like an amusement park. Anyhow, even the board itself isn't like inspired.
The problem is this game looks, sounds, everything older than it is by a bit. If you told me, oh yeah, this is from '96, be like, all right, yeah.
Yeah,
No,
this is
came
less
out
than
in
10
like-
years old, right?
Yeah, this came out in like 2013. Something like that. Maybe even more recently than that.
Yeah.
So
But I love this game. It's so simple. You are drawing a tile on your turn, which will give you coordinates on this 100 space board. You put whatever's supposed to go in that tile. Then you slide your guys around using the ratchet mechanism. They go far in one direction, but they can't go back. No. Give me my ratchet. There's no scooch ratchet. There's no combo scratch it.
Ratchet.
Hang on a second.
DJ Jazzy Jeff
It
busting
reminds
the
me
wall.
of all the mosquito bites I have.
scratch it mechanism. I like that.
But and then there's like 3 different ways to play beyond that. But it's just an entertaining. It's very light. I won't argue that. It's a fun, light family game. And man, I have fun every time I play it. And I've taught this game to many, many people because almost everyone I show to has never heard of it.
Yeah.
It's been like 6 years since I've played this one. If I had played it more recently, it might have made my list because I think it's amazingly clever. And it's a Kramer and Kiesling co-design.
Is it Kiesling?
Yes.
I thought it was just Kramer. But
I think
okay.
it is both of them, yeah.
It feels timeless.
Does Hava still do a family line?
Well, they're
Does Hava
bankrupt.
still do anything?
I don't know what they're doing right now. I mean, they did that family line for a while. The only real hit they had was Karuba that I know
Yeah.
of.
Are they gone?
No, I think
No.
well, we'll find out, I guess, in October.
I guess so.
I think it's more of a restructuring kind of
Yeah.
bankruptcy.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's a weird company to go away because it's like Hava is,
I know, man. So there you go. It's because of Adventureland. They made too many copies of the game.
That's not
But it's
true.
super fun. Adventureland.
My number 2 is not going to be on either of y'all's list, I'm sure of it. But this
Good news.
is
Neither is my number 2.
okay. All right. This is a game that I champion a little bit more. It's the little brother. It's the little cousin of a much more famous game. People at the beginning of the live chat were saying, "I wonder if this game will be on the list." And to completely disappoint you, it is not. But this is Agricola, All Creatures Big and Small.
Oh my word! You should have did it slower to get people excited. It's Agricola. All creatures, big and small.
I really love this game. This is my favorite version of Agricola. It's a little
But it's
two-player
a
box.
Big box. They made a big box of all creatures big and small.
That way you
did.
can fit Agricola, all creatures, big and small. Even more creatures, all.
Even more more buildings, and
Even more buildings, big and small. It's there in the picture.
Because I'm guessing it's more buildings big and small, and then even more buildings big and small.
it's the worst expansion naming I've ever seen in my life.
No, style is the goal. It's the worst expansion naming. Style is the goal. What are you talking about?
This is just the fun parts of Agricola. I think is why I like this so
funny.
much.
I cannot disagree more. I thought this was exactly the opposite. I remember when this came out, I'm like, really? They decided to make the spin-off 2-player game about the boring parts of Agricola?
He said this in the review. He's wrong. Animals breeding is fun. Disagree with me.
What's the fun part? I mean, I guess the card
cards.
drafting. Sure.
Just the cards with power. Again, you know the stuff I like, though.
Right, that's
so
fair.
cards with powers was kind of like the thing that in Agricola to me, I was like, oh my goodness, there's how many cards? 12,000 cards? That's insane, and they're all different. So when they made the game for 2 players, it was like, no cards, fences, and sheep. I'm like, oh, jeez. Anyway.
It's funny because I don't know if you've tried the buildings, more
No,
buildings
no, I
expansions. They give a little bit of that flair back because I particularly this high on my list with those 2 expansions
Cool.
in there. The big boxes version I think you can find readily now, but you have like in the base box just 4 special buildings you can possibly ever build, and they're the same 4 forever.
Right.
You throw in one expansion, you put another row of 4 in there, and it's like you pick 4 out of like 30 potential buildings.
Okay, that's cool.
The second expansion is just that again. So you can have up to 12 unique buildings that kind of fill that role
So
of
it's a
the
little like
cards.
Caverna at that point then.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
There's the special buildings out there, and you're racing to build them from each other, before the other person does, and they really inform how you can play. You want one that's going to make leftover resources worth points at the end of the game instead of worth nothing. you can get that one. You want
Right.
one that allows you to breed animals, quicker, like, specialize in horses or whatever, which are always harder to work on in this game. Like, there's different buildings that do really fun, zany things. Kind of feels like Cards with Powers.
Yeah.
So that's the version of this that I like the most.
All right, cool. My number dose
Crossover.
is a crossover.
Agricola, all creatures great and small. Nah, just straight Agricola.
It's Caverna.
Caverna.
Averna.
Averna. No, my number 2 is Arkham Horror, the
Whoa!
living card game.
I'm confused. I thought this would be your number 1.
No, this game is crap.
Wait, let me go look at my list again.
Anyway, Arkham Horror, the card game, for everything Chris said, it is excellent. It is rich with story and powers and all sorts of stuff. It did get a little, I think some of the later expansions did kind of, I wish they hadn't gone so nuts with some of the abilities where they had to start referencing timing windows on the cards.
Oh.
I just don't use those cards. It's a little much, but I really do enjoy both the stories the game tells me and the stories I can tell in the game. I really enjoy that. There you go. That's my number 2.
All right.
That's a great way of putting it. Eloquent.
You like that?
Eloquent.
I just came up with that in my brain juice.
My number 2 is in one of my favorite genres, which is a straight up head-to-head tactical battle. Ascension Tactics.
Yes.
Ascension Tactics is so good. It takes everything I like about Ascension, and I do like Ascension. It's a lot of fun, but then it adds that to a tactical battle. I'm building a deck, and then using that deck to move monsters and creatures around and fight each other. And that's just fun to do. I mean, this game, the amount of content that's in it, it's insane. Like, there's 30 scenarios, and I played the first scenario like 10 times now because who cares? It's just a map that you're fighting on, but there's all these other maps and different things. I'm like, I'm good with just this base game and just running around fighting. I like the idea of, you're buying cards to put them in your deck, which make your characters do stronger and cooler things, or, upgrades, and then also just using cards to go around and fight each other.
Right.
The second set of this is not out yet. I wonder if
Did
it's
they come out with
delayed.
expansions to this?
Yeah, there's like a standalone expansion that they kick-started,
That's not out there.
unless I missed it, but I don't think so. Maybe it's coming out at Gen
Chris
Con or
reviewed it
something?
like a year and a half ago. You got a copy right from Remy.
Anyway, super fun, this game. Ascension Tactics.
What are you owing about?
I finally figured out your number 1. I've been sitting here thinking for a long time.
I figured out
You read-
yours.
Because I read the comments. Yes, it's because I read the comments.
Stop
I'm a
reading the
cheater.
comments.
I'll do what I want.
All right, predict my number 1 then. You also could have just read the comments.
Oh, is that your number 1? Really?
My number 1 is Airlines Europe.
They get them all? They might have gotten them all.
Well, that disgusts me that my number 1 isn't anywhere on your list, but all right.
It's not even close.
Your number 1's a piece of crap.
I don't voice of the people here. So you all can back off.
True. Okay, fine.
That's true, yeah. The people are not saying Airlines Europe. Everything that you said, this is great. I love the tension of trying to acquire the shares of the companies that you're building up, but you also have to take time in this game to actually slam down the shares and make them publicly known. Just like in real life, if you don't claim that you own stocks in a company, you don't.
I do like that. That's been great. Like, how many stocks does Chris have in this? 74. Okay. I will stop making this company better because I want you to hurt.
But in game, that tension is so fun because in the main deck of the game are 3 scoring round cards, and so you are. It's the same thing that you see in like Foundations of Rome, Foundations of Metropolis, where you see the scoring coming closer, but you're not really sure when it's going to be. Okay, I'm going to place out these stocks. I really want to do something else. Do I do that, or do I once again play stocks out? And so it's great. I love that tension. Everything about this. This is one of my family's most played games. We're going to go visit them again this summer. Go back to Las Vegas, and I know that at least 1 or 2 of the nights we're going to play this game.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it
That's
is
cool.
Yeah, we have a little sticky note pad that we kept in the box. That we use that instead of the tokens, the little cardboard token. Like, you got 17 points. Does anyone have change? I hate those score markers. So we just write them out on sticky notes, and we have years of sticky notes in our box.
Doesn't this have a score track?
No, nope. It uses.
Oh
those
no,
little
it has a track for the value of the companies.
Correct. Yeah.
Got it.
But yeah,
I got it correct. He said it was correct.
But yeah, it's fun. This is like our family tradition. We open the box, we just look at it like, oh man, remember when Wendy won by like 40 points that game? Remember when Wendy won by like 10 points that game? Wendy wins a lot.
Got it.
I would like to. When someone wins a lot, I'm like, wait, there's no reason for us to keep track.
Like, it's you.
Well, then it goes in stone, like the Ten Commandments.
You keep track.
Keep track. No, I don't keep track normally of games.
Would you ever be tempted by doing that whole box topping or whatever, writing on the inside of the lid?
I think it's a cool thing to do.
There's something neat about that. Very like family heirloom vibe to that.
Yeah. We had friends that did that religiously, and I thought that was really cool. But I don't know. It never appealed to me to like do it myself. But like Airlines Europe is the closest that we come with all those old score sheets.
That's what it makes me think of when you're saying all the sticky notes are in there. It's like, I like that practice. It's very, it's very heartwarming, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, my number one is Abyss. As somebody already guessed in the comments, and Tom couldn't quite figure it out. But yes, that's what it is, Abyss. Abyss is wonderful. It is a card game in which you are collecting these lords. It has a setting similar to Aquatica, actually.
As I say, looking at these back to back, they look very similar.
Very similar settings, yeah. So you are hiring these lords, and they'll give you, unique abilities and powers in this underwater land. The cool mechanical sort of thing here, the feel of the game that I am attracted to, is that this game, whether by design or because everything kind of feels that way, I don't know, but everything in it you do, or many things I should say, you do feel like if you reach for something higher than what you were just given, you are leaving better things for your opponents also. If your first card you flip isn't that good and you don't want it, you can flip again, but then that card is left there for your opponents. If you want to see more lords, you can pay for that, but then you're making more options available to your opponents, and so on and so on. There's a few sort of things that have that feeling, and I love that tension. I love that, seeing that as I teach this game, and I teach it a lot, seeing kind of how people are. Some people just keep going. They're like, it's a 3. No, flip again. It's a 4. No, flip again. I'm like, okay. They don't care. The next person is going to be like, but they don't care. That's how they are. For me, I don't play like that. You flip over a 3, and if it's even like a fairly usable card, I'm like, I'm good. I don't want to leave stuff for other people,
You're too
It's
cautious.
really
And
cautious.
selfish.
That's what it is. Cautious and selfish.
Crawfish.
Yeah, I'm a crawfish. Yeah, thanks. That is the race I
Dramatic.
enjoy playing. I like the proud crawfish people of the deep.
I'm the prawns.
Anyway, my number one, Abyss.
It's been so long since I've played this that I now have like a game table with edges on the side.
Uh-huh.
The game might go up a whole point for me because of the little pearls rolling around.
Oh.
That's
Well,
like
you have the thing to keep them in.
Yeah, but as soon as you drop one, you're like, everyone,
That's fair.
don't let it fall.
That's true.
But the production's gorgeous, but the pearls are the one thing that I'm like,
They're really round. Like they not give you squishy ones that wouldn't roll away. They're fully round. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
like
know.
the-
Do you want the half pearls? But then you can't pick those things up.
Yeah.
yeah, I'd like
They're
to
a
play
little
this one
squishy.
again.
Some game components give you like a slightly squished one. They're pretty good. They stay put. So.
That's true, yeah.
Mine, the Dice Art copy has real pearls in there.
And one chip.
And one chiclet.
One of them's.
Actually, don't they make mints?
No,
that
you're
look-
thinking of those.
They make sprinkles that look like
sprinkles.
pearls.
They look like pearls. They're really
That's
hard.
it.
They don't taste very good at all.
That's what I'm thinking.
And
of,
my
yes.
daughter loves them.
I also
They're
love
like
them.
hate them
I have no
busters.
good. Yeah, they're like.
They're bad for you, man. I mean, they're hard.
Yeah,
I'm not.
sure.
There's nothing good about it, and I still am like.
You need to put one of these in
I put them on
bits.
ice cream
Okay.
just to see what would happen. You shouldn't do it. So anyhow, my number one voice of the people here, Arg Nova. We're not fooling around here. This was number one by a country mile. Ark Nova is a great game. I still really enjoy it. The expansion is such a good expansion, too. World Series of Board Gaming, they're going to have a new map for it, too. I'm curious to see that. I was just talking to some
really?
people saying, should we buy multiple copies of the map pack so everybody can play the same map? No.
No.
Okay, no.
Why
that's
would you? No, that's
that's like
not,
it's very competitive. You might want to play the same map.
Wow.
Here's the thing. Which map do you think's better? You can use it.
Yeah,
I will.
yeah.
I will cede you the advantage.
My goodness, that is hardcore. This game does inspire that, though, doesn't it? It inspires that incredible high level of competition, and it's very popular, especially on Board Game Geek and among hardcore gamers for those very reasons. It's made, it's wound like a clock. It's very specific.
It's an incredibly impressive game. Like I joke that it's not near my list. No, I like it a lot. It's just not in my top 10.
I thought it might make yours. I know that you're not as big a fan of it.
No.
Now, I forgot. I was going to do a People's Choice list for this. I completely forgot to set it up. I feel like this would have been the People's Choice number one.
I think undoubtedly.
So, yeah.
I think the People's Choice number two might have been Agricola. It didn't make our list.
I don't think so.
I like
think
it-
Architects of the West Kingdom.
Oh,
Yeah.
actually,
Which
I
I'm
thought that would be on
surprised
your
no
list.
one had.
I'm a unabashed big fan of Garfield games. I like Architects. I don't love it. I think that it stems a little bit from the fact I think it's weakest at 2 players, and that's what I've played it most at. Right? It's been.
Okay.
But I think it's a great game with 4 and 5 because you really need all the players for that interaction. Imprisoning each other and like those cool cutoff points.
Yeah.
I think it's a good game. I don't think it's great.
I think it might be my. Well, no, it's not my number 11 because I have my number 11 written here. What was my number 11?
The one that
Oh, no,
became
it wasn't a
e-game.
thing. So it probably would be my number 11, actually, Architects. Agricola just got replaced by Caverna. Same thing with, what's the Eric Lang fantasy fighting game?
No.
The one,
Arcadia Quest.
Arcadia Quest got replaced by Starcadia Quest.
Got it,
so
got
that's
it,
why
got it.
that didn't
Sure.
make my list either. Because
get that.
it's funny because you take I don't ever know how to do this, right? You take the one game out, does the other game still then go on the list?
Sure.
For me, that doesn't work that way. Once I say a game replaces it, I'm with the new one.
I'll tell you when it goes on the list is when I have 9 games that start with K that I like. I'm like, you know what? That other one. that'll
Cadia
go.
Quest.
Arcadia
Yeah,
Quest.
yeah.
Yeah, just here, folks, if Mike Delisio is here, Architects would be his number 1.
Yes, I think
Paladins of the West Kingdom would be his number 2.
so. Yes.
Oh,
What's the wrong thing there? Never mind.
Acropolis, I think, would be fairly popular on the People's Choice vote.
Above and Below is a good pick.
So I thought about Acropolis, right? But it's really Sprawlopolis again.
No, not Agricopolis or whatever that one was.
Acropolis, like the one from Gigamic or whoever.
Where you have the hexagon tiles and you can build up. The one that Wendy liked far more than any of the rest of us.
I think that one's already off the zeitgeist, but I might be wrong. I don't know.
It's fairly popular. It has an expansion. I saw some big
Oh, that's
teasing
true. Mike
for
would
it.
have also said Aqua Garden.
Oh, yeah. I have not played Aqua Garden.
Above and Below, I know a lot of people would like that one. Yeah.
Oh, Base Azul. Base Azul would be on the list of the People's Choice, I'm
Yes.
sure.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, either way,
How about the Abacus? That would make it.
in the comments, folks, if you have a favorite A game, put it in the comments. But don't put it in multiple times. If you see someone else did, then thumb that one up. And let's see which games get the most thumbs in the comments. So there's a lot of great games start with A. It's a pretty easy one to do, actually.
Very
B
easy.
will,
That's why they put A at the beginning of the alphabet, actually.
yeah.
Because there's a lot of games that start with A, so it makes this easier. You kind of can warm up.
Would you
into-
say A is more important than B?
I would say A comes earlier than B.
I think we could say A is more important than B, and we just continue down the alphabet that way.
I sense a trap. My gills are shaking.
No trap, just fact. Anyway,
Fact or
thank you
trap?
all for watching. We're not done live this week. Tomorrow, we're playing live DC United. You're very excited. So he's already played it twice.
I have played it twice.
Oh, really?
I did.
I'm excited to see the D list, the top 10 D.
Well, it's not how you would get. So anyway, we're playing out live tomorrow. Then after that, you're going to see a lot of lack of live stuff for a while because we're going to be live at Dice Tower East. So we'll see you there. But we are recording a top 10 list there, our top 10 disappointments. And that will be recorded and posted later on. And we'll have Dice Tower TV running all week next week. And also, Jeff Knapp's top 100 games of all time are going to be posted. So plenty of stuff coming in the future. But first, DC United. Before that, dinner. Well, it's not time for dinner yet. But I'm hungry.
Anytime's time for dinner if you dream
Yeah,
hard
that's
enough.
true. That's true. All right. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Until next time, I'm Tom Vasel.
I'm Zee Garcia.
I'm Chris Yee.
Woo! Hey! Hey everybody, thanks for watching another video from the Dice Tower. Hey, you want to learn more about us, communicate with us? We have a Facebook group, we have a Discord channel, lots of different ways to get involved with the Dice Tower. And you can find that in our Linktree link below. So just click that, it will take you and you can communicate with us on Facebook, join our Facebook groups. There's lots of cool things that you can find and become part of the Dice Tower. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Vasel.